and welcome to Back of the Net. My name's Sam Davis.
My name's Tom Jordan.
Thanks for joining us this Thursday. It's going to be a second look and a slightly different second look. Look, it's been content galore for Back of the Net this week, not least because on Monday, where we'd usually record the second look, we were in Manchester for the overlap.
We were.
If you haven't seen it, make sure you click the card at the top of the screen. And Tom, I've got to say, you spoke really well and represented Bournemouth really well. It was only about 5 minutes of the show, and a lot of the parts were dominated for the big six sides, obviously, but I think you represented Bournemouth well and posed some interesting questions, not least, who's going to be the next manager? You mentioned Knutson, you mentioned Sean Dyche probably isn't going to be interested. Interesting that Nathan Jones has taken the Saints job. Who's your money on, mate? Hard to say, isn't it?
It is really hard because there hasn't been too many links, which I think is a good thing because on one hand you'd think, oh, maybe that's because we know what we're doing, but also let's just let Gary O'Neill get on with his job while he's in the interim charge, which he has done. But yeah, I think if I had to put money on it, I would go Knutson. Just because I feel like with the Norwegian league ending and the way it's all timed, I think it sounds like it might be a good fit. But I'm not too frightened with Southampton getting Jones. I mean, he might work out for him, but I would have been a bit fearful if they got Dyche. I would have thought he's going to keep him up. So yeah, we'll wait and see, mate. But yeah, enjoyed the overlap, and yeah, we haven't had time to really do much, have we? So we're going to have to do a little bit of a different second look. We've had a couple of games, mate. We've had a couple of games.
We have. So look, we all know about what happened at the weekend. 4-3 over Leeds. I think in many ways it was a naive performance after 60 minutes, that is, letting them back in the second time, a 2-goal lead has slipped. But we put some of those wrongs right on Tuesday, albeit in a tournament where both teams really didn't have their full focus on. But to win 4-1 against Everton was a very good result. So it's been quite a tumultuous week.
Yeah, no, it has. But yeah, I think it was important still for momentum and going into this game that we performed well. I mean, the win was great, but I think it was more about the performance. And I think actually Everton will probably have more players starting again on Saturday than we will. So yeah, it was still a lot of positive signs. They still got a good squad. So I was really pleased with what I saw. I think in particular, Stevens, who's probably going to have to come in at the weekend, we'll go on to that, and Travers in goal had decent games, so that was important. But I was just pleased to see some good football, some goals. So if we try and look at it on a positive spin, we've scored a few goals in the last couple, so that's positive sides, mate. It was nice to get back to winning ways at home.
And what we're going to do on this show is do it via a tier list. We're going to look at every player that's featured in the last 2 games for Bournemouth, and we're going to see if they've done enough to be considered for, of course, the game this coming weekend, but also future games going forward as well. So it's going to be a different way of doing it. Before we get onto that, though, we, of course, have got to mention something. You know it's coming. It's the Greene King season ticket app. Look, there are plenty of Greene King pubs up and down the country, and they're regarded as the home of pub sport, and there's a chance we might go to one at the weekend.
I think we might have to, mate, yeah.
There's plenty in and around Bournemouth. Yeah. The Broadway, of course. Great pub. You've got the Richmond Arms as well. In and around Dean Court, there's also the Brunny, but there are Greene Kings in Poole as well. Plenty to go to. You can see a full list of Greene Kings on your screen. What I like about them is that you can download the Greene King app and you can order food and drinks to your table without even leaving your seat.
Nice.
And with that, there's a way that you can get a free drink as well by not the Greene King app, it's the Greene King season ticket app. Just download it on your app store. You can see it on screen now. Just type Green with an E at the end and then the season ticket app will come up. And by having the app, you get loads of benefits.
You do, 10% off a great range of drinks in there. 1 hour, what is it, before, during and after. I always think like I've got to say that a few times. I'm like, what, really? Before, during and after any game that's on. So yeah, they'll show the live game. I think the early game on the weekend is Man City.
Ooh, okay.
I think they're playing Brentford. So yeah, if you want to get in, watch that before the Bournemouth one. You can use discounts there, booking functionality, all that good stuff. And little place where you can put a code in as well, which will help. That'll give you a big bonus.
Type code BOTN in the promotional code section. Once you've fully signed up, in your offers part of the app, you'll see a few offers, one of which is a free welcome drink. If you tap that, it will present you with a QR code, and then you can just show the bar staff that and get a free drink, whether it's alcoholic or a soft drink. Also, just underneath the QR code is actually a coupon code that you can then use in the Greene King app. If you want to sit down and not even go to the bar, it will then deduct the total from the balance and you get a free drink delivered to you. How is it free? If you can't make it to a game, make it to a Greene King sports pub. They're your home of pub sport.
That's where the fans go.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So, yeah, look, the tier list is incoming very, very shortly, but we're just going to spend 5 minutes on Leeds.
Yeah.
5 minutes on Everton. Same old story, mate. I mean, I thought we did so well in that first half at Elland Road. We could have been 3 or 4-1 up, and that's not us overblowing it or whatever. We really could have. Kiefer Moore was guilty of wasting a chance. Dom Solanke was through on goal. We had other efforts as well, but unfortunately, the sort of mental fragility came to the fore as Leeds United made it 3-2, and from that point, we sort of knew what was coming.
Yeah, it felt a little bit inevitable, didn't it? I think Leeds obviously deserve a lot of credit. They could have easily just kind of thought, we're on our way to another defeat at home, but they kept fighting and they put problems on us, and they probably did look at that fragility that you said that we've had of late and use that to their advantage. But yeah, as you say, first half we were brilliant. We were front foot. I think in the last couple we've scored a lot of goals, and they've all been from like different goal scorers as well, which is a really a good thing to have in your squad as you're getting goals from a lot of different areas. And we played really well, mate. And I didn't think we were in any danger, as you say, until they nicked that one back. And yeah, I think it's a collective. I think some people will say about maybe using the subs bench a bit more, which I appreciate. Maybe Gary O'Neill, players on the pitch. There's loads of different things, but I think overall, it's just as a collective, that Tottenham game has obviously done a lot to him. I think I said after the Tottenham game that my main concern, I never felt we'd get anything at Tottenham, but the fact we were 2-0 up, my concern was then that fragility setting into the group, and it happened in the next game because as soon as they got that goal back, everyone in the ground knew what was going to happen, and that's a little bit of a worry. But if we're looking at the positives, we scored a lot of goals away from home. We shouldn't be having to score over 3 goals away from home to get a result, but there were positives. But yeah, it was just a really frustrating one, mate. It really, really was. I think it was even more frustrating than the Tottenham one because they're not as good as Tottenham, obviously, and I think when they got the one back, it was kind of that they can score goals, Leeds. They're at home, but they're so vulnerable at the back. Let's keep trying to catch them on the break, and we just weren't. We just sat deeper and deeper, and yeah, everyone knows what ended up happening, mate. But as you say, in the week we managed to rectify a few things. Hopefully we can put that behind us.
One thing that does give me a bit of optimism, though, is the fact we're scoring goals.
Definitely.
Though. And you look at the other 3 teams at the bottom, some of the teams in and around us. Southampton seemingly can't hit a barn door. Yep. Wolves aren't exactly potent up top. So that gives me some optimism, a chink of optimism in amongst the sort of... You get in your own echo chamber and you go onto Twitter, you go onto Facebook, you see people being very negative on social media, but really, our performances haven't been like really dire. They've just been, some of them have been like moments of madness almost.
Yeah.
That have let teams in. Like for instance, had Travers not flailed for that cross, and that was the moment that made it 2-2. Like little moments like that.
Yeah.
And we have got a good defence and we've shown how resilient we can be.
I think that's the thing, is we've shown just under Gary O'Neill that we've had games where we said under the start of his tenure, he's made us defensively solid, but we're not doing anything at the other end. Now we're doing things at the other end, and we've lost that defensive solidity. So it's what every team's searching for, isn't it? It's getting both them ingredients and whacking them together, which is far easier said than done. But as you say, mate, it's moments, because in that Tottenham game, we're comfortable at 2-0, and Travers loses man, and they get one back. And to be fair, in this game where we're comfortable, they score a worldie and they're back in the game. So yeah, it's moments. I think Gary's said it himself that we have been quite good in these kind of 10 games that O'Neill's had. It's been moments where we've panicked. And I think it's that panic, and it's probably that lack of experience, lack of kind of maybe belief at times that they think, oh God, are we going to do this again? And it's kind of up here. But you and I have both played football, mate, and even at a low standard, if you're winning the game 2-0, you're walking around, goes 2-1, you're 10 yards further back.
Yeah, you tense up.
Subconsciously, you don't feel you're doing anything different, but you are just slowly drifting back. And I think that's setting in. But hopefully, the 2 results will make them think, well, we can't do that because it's been proven to not suit us very well. So we need to keep going. And we saw that in the week, so that was better.
Yeah, and like you say, Tuesday was that same test. Going 2-0 up, then conceding, but we came through it, and that'll give Gary O'Neill some happiness after 2 very difficult games in a row. And look, the quality of the side that we were playing wasn't particularly great, but let's not forget a lot of the players that we were fielding as well hadn't played a full football match in the first team or at the Vitality Stadium for a long time. So it was a performance that made me really proud. I really wasn't bothered. I think this comes across on the vlog. Everyone is fully focused on the league. However, now I'm looking back at it, it was quite a nice distraction, really.
Yeah.
And having that momentum in the Cup, even though the Cup means nothing, that momentum will carry on to Saturday, even though they're different tournaments.
You like to think so, and also it's that little reminder that, oh, we have got a squad here.
Yeah.
You know, you forget about some of the players that don't play, and you think, oh, actually, we've got some real good players that can make an impact if needed. I also wonder if, I know Gary said that when it went 2-1, he kind of thought, oh, this is going to be interesting now, and he kind of embraced that. But also, is it partly that thing of, because we made so many changes, the players on the pitch didn't have that mindset because they haven't been in it personally. And also, probably, I'm not being funny, but if you're one of them players, you're going, right, let's not do what the other lads have done, and we'll prove a statement there that we should be in the team.
But also the pressure that a player feels in the Carabao Cup,
of course,
compared to the Premier League.
And they weren't, the opposition weren't doing what Leeds and Tottenham were doing, were they? And but again, it was a bit similar to the Greenwood goal at Leeds. It was a great strike, wasn't it, Damari Gray?
Really was.
How was he not on a Bournemouth shirt yet, by the way? Did for about 12 times. But yeah, and what I really liked about it is we kept showing that we can get at them at the other end, and we didn't let up. You know what I mean? And I think some of the, weirdly, after what was said at Leeds, I think the subs were very, very good. Yeah. Good changes at the right time. So yeah, as you say, mate, bigger fish to fry, but it was nice, and I think that second half in particular, kind of just sat back and enjoyed the football and thought, I'm quite liking this, and I'm really liking the attitude and application of players that could be moping. Yeah. I really did enjoy that. We said briefly off air that the Norwich game we went to, Christian Sadie was standout, and then Jamal Lowe standout. So you're thinking, we haven't got any backups. Oh, but hang on, the 2 other strikers have shown they can do stuff as well. So promising, I think, for the squad. Really, really promising, and I enjoyed it.
I'm hoping the T-shirt that I'm wearing, that was gifted by you, by the way. You bought me this for my birthday, like year before last, didn't you? Hope this kind of represents the evolution of AFC Bournemouth over the next week or so. So we started at the very beginning, and then it's a picture-perfect performance, hopefully, on Saturday against Everton. You'll notice when we've been talking, there's been a distinct lack of individual mentions of any players. That's because we've got, Tom, a tier list. There it is on screen.
It's a good tier list.
And what we're going to be doing is seeing what we've learned about each player that's had a significant amount of, so basically 15 minutes or more. Yeah. So unfortunately, that means it excludes the likes of James Hill, Sadie that came on at the end as well in the Cup. But we've got some categories here. And Tom, talk me through them because we need to know what these mean.
Yeah, so as you say, it's kind of for the weekend, but also going forward, what we've learned from the squad in the last week, because there's been 2 different teams really. So at the top, I've gone nailed on, which basically means if they're fit, they're ready, and they're available for selection, they're nailed on to start. They've done enough. In contention, as you can make an argument for it, they've done enough to definitely be in contention for that start 11, but maybe they're not quite nailed on yet. In the middle, I've got impact sub, so that's kind of more, we've seen bits and we've seen that, oh, hang on, they could do something, but are they ready to start? Maybe not. Yeah. And then not done enough is probably when they've been asked upon and when they've played, they're probably not quite at it at the moment. And at the bottom, I've gone for uncertain future with a little question mark in there because it's not saying get rid of them or they've been rubbish, or because I don't actually think, when you look at the squad, I don't think anyone's been rubbish.
No, I don't think so either.
But there's a few players in there which we'll come on to that I just think, or is it at a point now where they think whatever they really do in the minutes they're going to get, is it really going to happen for them? Do they maybe need a loan move? Is it maybe the last, that kind of last few months for them potentially? So looked at that as well.
It should be good. So yeah, Tom is going to give his opinions. Hopefully he won't look like a mug, but he might look. That's terrible. Look at that.
What a mug.
Beautiful. You might have seen this on the vlog. I started the deliveries to BH postcode, so if you're in a BH postcode, we will be hand delivering them. It might be me, might be Tom, might be both of us. Thanks for all the support. Look, we've just done it to UK postcodes only. We will do international deliveries before Christmas. We found the international delivery courier that we were using absolutely terrible. Like David Cordell got his month like 3 months later. Yeah, really bad. Thankfully, it was intact. How it was, I don't know. If you want to order one of these, go to afcbpodcast.com/coffee, and then on the Ko-fi page, there's a shop, or there's a direct link in the description. It's a minimum of 10 quid. I'm going to be transparent here, right? The mugs cost £4 each to buy. If you're outside of the BH postcode area, it's another £3 to post, which means we're only making £3 a month. We're a community fan channel. We're not going to take the piss, right? However, if you want to, donate more to help support the pod, then you can give more. But it's a minimum of £10. So we really appreciate anyone that buys one of these, and we hope you enjoy drinking your tea, your hot chocolate, your coffee, or maybe something stronger out of it. Hopefully you won't need something stronger at the weekend. So, here's a graphic on screen now. And what this graphic is a list of all the players in order of minutes that they've played over the last 2 games. And we're going to go from top to bottom, starting, Tom, with Mark Travers, who played the full 180 minutes in the last couple of games.
Yeah, it was an interesting one because a lot of people were thinking, will he play him on... I was saying, and I was really glad that I think you just play him because it could be a confidence boost. I mean, you could have played Cameron Payne, you could have even played Will Dennis, I believe, in the Cup, but with Neto injured, Travers in, he had no errors in the Cup game, made one decent save where he tipped over the bar, could have been going over, but nice reaction save. So yeah, he's got to be nailed on due to Neto's injury, hasn't he?
But if Neto was obviously available and then Mark Travers played in the Cup, which we probably would have done, I suppose he'd be in contention, wouldn't he? But
at best, I would say. Not because of Travers, but because when we've had Neto in, he hadn't done nothing wrong.
He's certainly not an impact sub, is he?
No, not quite. Well, I'll tell you what, he can score with his head. He's got a goal in him. But no, at this moment in time with Neto's injury, let's just whack Travers and nailed on and move on from that.
The first couple that we got are sort of fairly difficult to classify based on details. One of which was obviously Chris Mepham, who's not going to be available for the Everton game because of the yellow card. He was another player that played the full.
He wouldn't
2
have
sets
if he
of
didn't
90
get the
minutes.
yellow, would he?
Yeah, of course.
I think if he wants suspended, we wouldn't have. Probably feel for James Hill actually, because he would have probably started the game. But
player of the season so far?
I think you could definitely make an argument for it. Definitely.
There's a couple that maybe.
Yeah, but he's got to be really pleased for him. He's got in the Welsh squad as expected. But yeah, because of his suspension, he can't play. But I think we're going to look at this one for more in the future, and he's got to go and nailed on. If he's because I did make the statement at the start of the show that when we talk about these tiers. Nailed on is kind of if they're available, fit, and ready to go, are they nailed on? Well, Chris Mepham is. Whoever, if we had Lloyd Kelly back, will he be playing with him? Because Chris Mepham is nailed on. He's been fantastic. Yeah,
brilliant. Jack Stacey then. What do you think?
It's a difficult one with Stacey. I get really frustrated with Stacey. I've said this to you a few times. He's got so much energy.
He has got so much energy, and he likes to get forward, and sometimes it can be very effective when he gets forward.
He bombs on. He'll run for you all game long. He's sturdy. He's got a bit of pace. You think he's got all the attributes to be a top fullback / wing back. And then I think final ball ain't great. Defensively a little bit naive. And at the moment, with 2 players that we'll come on to in Adam Smith and Ryan Fredericks, I think the Fredericks signing in the summer made me think, Stacey shouldn't be. We shouldn't be looking for a right back, and we were. And even last season, Scott Parker decided to bring Laird on loan when we already had a couple of. And I think that's makes me think he might have to go in uncertain future for me.
Right.
If I was in charge, I would. At worst, probably send him on loan to get minutes in the Championship, say, because I think he could do a job. I wouldn't want him to go permanently because I think there's a player there.
And this isn't a slur on his performances, because I
thought he done okay in the week.
Yeah, I thought in large parts on Tuesday night especially, he was very good.
Yeah. But I think what kind of backs up my point a little bit was that Leeds game. He brought him on, which was a bit of a surprise. But he brought him on against Leeds and he showed his energy, bombed on at 3-3, got a chance in the box and just played the ball across goal to no one. Yeah. And I thought, that's Jack Stacey all over. He gets in all the right areas. He's got so many attributes. And it just never quite happens. I remember last season, he come in because of a suspension or injury. I think it was at Derby. Yeah. And we just looked, he just was getting caught all the time. So, yeah, I think there's a player in there, but I don't think he's going to improve them areas if he's just sat on the bench. Yeah. And I just don't see how he's getting in over Fredericks and Smith. So, could be seeing the squad, how the squad shapes up, could be a potential loan move for me.
Okay, Ryan Fredericks then, who's played 97 minutes over the 2 games.
Yeah, really, I think he's been so up and down for me. There's been certain games where I think he's been brilliant, he's got a lot of pace. There's other times where I think, he hasn't looked right. He almost looks like he's kind of not quite fit to play a full 90, to be honest. He's got a bit of experience, and I think that's why Gary Neal likes him, and he certainly played him in more of the away games, hasn't he?
He is your right wing back. Can he play just right back?
Yeah. Do you remember when we spoke to Harry Redknapp at the start of the season, and we said about Fredericks, obviously he's worked with him before, and he said that his problem with Fredericks was always he wasn't quite a right back, but he wasn't a right midfielder. Yeah. So he is definitely falls in that wing back slot, and with the system that we're playing at the moment, the way Gary O'Neill wants to play, I think he's quite effective in there. He's got to be in contention for me.
Yeah.
He's not nailed on, but I think Gary likes him, and I think his experience is crucial to us, especially in these games where we're kind of throwing away leads and stuff. We could do with that experience.
Really interesting to see Joe Rothwell on Tuesday night. He's a player that we always were thinking is never going to come back from injury, but he did, and he played a bit of a deeper role than I expected actually.
Yes,
Everton.
He did. I felt I did like him.
He's good on the ball.
Yeah, I thought he was virtually press proof because he's so comfortable on the ball. He wants to move it quickly, he has kind of used him very late on in games, hasn't he, in a couple of games, and I think he does move the ball well. I think there's definitely a player in there. I think, obviously the injuries have affected the fact that he's not in the top couple of categories. I'm going to go impact sub because I don't think he's in contention to start at the moment.
No.
But I think he's proven, even in small parts, that he can be a good option off the bench.
Yeah.
I think now he's getting his fitness back, so I'm going to go with that. But later on in the season, he could even be nailed on. I think he's a good player.
I've got a feeling this one might be relatively short and sweet, but Adam Smith is
nailed on.
Nailed on.
Yeah, whether you play a 3, whether you play a 4, it doesn't matter. Adam Smith, I think when you mention Mepham at player of the season at the moment, I think Smith gets overlooked. I think he hasn't put a foot wrong. I think he's been brilliant. Delighted he never got that 5th booking.
Yeah.
I think he gives us so much flexibility. I think he's so underrated. Yeah. And love Smithy, nailed on.
Nailed on. All right, next. Jack Stevens then. Really interesting to see him play a full 90. I didn't think he looked uncomfortable at all.
No, I thought he looked all right.
I mean, toothless Everton, I would say.
Of course.
They did get through a number of times and just completely fluffed their lines, especially in the first half. But other than that,
I think that was the point I was going to make, particularly early on. But then the second half, once he got his footing in the game, they didn't get in again, in behind. So that was the main one that I thought, right, Stevens needs to have a good game because he's probably going to play at the weekend with Mepham's suspension. And I was relatively pleased with what I saw. So obviously for the weekend he's nailed on, but I'm going to go not done enough because we're talking about the future. Yeah. So I'm going to put him in not done enough because if everyone was fit and available, he's not done enough to start, has he? I mean, it's not really his fault he hasn't played, but the centre-halves are ahead of him. mean he's not done enough, and you don't really have centre-halves as impact subs anyway.
No, agree, absolutely. Okay, Ben Pearson then. I thought he had a really good game, and it underlines a number of things that you've been saying about the fact that he's been underutilised in the games where he should have been utilised, closing off, seeing out games, just holding it up and just being the enforcer in midfield, the role that he does so well, clearing up in there, and yet he was just not used at all, which is bizarre.
I feel for Pirlo in terms of starting, because Lewis Cook and Jefferson Lerma are brilliant, but I think it highlight everyone in the stadium. No one was shocked at how well he played.
No, cool.
But everyone was just like, oh my God, it's even more head scratching that he hadn't come on in the last two. But I think what that did do is if we were in that position on Saturday, I'm telling you, he's coming on. Yeah. I thought he was brilliant. He just does that job so well. Fans are always going to like him because he gives us all on the pitch, doesn't he? And he's really hard working.
So he's quite an impact sub.
So I'm going to go impact sub for a different reason. He's an impact sub for if we're trying to close the game out.
Yeah.
He's absolutely an impact sub. The only reason, I think in many teams he'd be in contention to start, is Lerma and Lewis Cook have been very good this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Dom Solanke then. This is, again, probably short and sweet, only 90 minutes. It's quite interesting, really. I'm looking just through that list now. There are a number of players where it says 90-0, obviously played no part in the Carabao Cup. I probably know what category they're going in based on the fact that they've been saved. However, Dom Solanke, crucial. Yeah,
nailed on. Arguably our most important player, potentially. I think Kiefer Moore's shown he can do a job as well, which is handy. But yeah, Dom's brilliant, everything he does. Absolutely superb, whether he drops a little bit deeper or leads the line. Brilliant, great goal against Leeds. And yeah, I think that was a massive statement that we didn't have any strikers on the bench in the week because there was no way we were risking. Do you remember the Boreham Wood game last season? We brought Dom on and we're thinking, what are we doing? I think we've done it in the 9-0 against Liverpool as well. It's like, just save him, wrap him up in cotton wool. So yeah, Dom nailed on.
Okay, Jaden Anthony then. Again, really good performance. I thought he plays really well when he dovetails with JayZ. We all know this, right? Yeah. But I thought he did really well. Loved the fact he got a goal.
Yeah, chuffed.
What's his status on this tier list?
I'll tell you what, he took that last goal, so he could have easily just hit that. The way he just kind of swiveled.
He sort of feinted on his right, put it back onto his left, and then Asmir Begovic was sold, and
brilliant. And he's already shown earlier in the season and under Gary O'Neill's reign that he'd come on and he'd got a winner, hasn't he, against Forest. You're right. The JayZ combo is brilliant to watch, but equally, I think near the end of the game, him, Dembele, Stacey, they were linking up as well. I think Jaden Anthony is quite underrated, actually. I think even in the first half, there were times where we went, right, Stacey, you tuck in a bit. Jaden, can you just kind of be wing back for a little bit? And I don't like that, but he goes and does it, and he done, and I really like him. He's got to be in contention. He's got to be in contention. And if he weren't to start games, he's an impact sub. But for me, he's further on than an impact sub. You wouldn't argue him starting. Some people would probably start him at the weekend.
Nice to see Jamal Lowe get on the score sheet. Fortuitous the way it went in, but a player that seems to always score when he plays. There are a couple that fit that category that I'm sure we'll come on to. But Jamal Lowe, nice to see him get a goal. And I think his overall link-up play was actually pretty good.
Really chuffed for him. I don't know if you remember, mate, but when we went to Yeovil last year, we played him up front on his own, and he didn't look right. And I thought he can't do what Dom and Kiefer Moore can do, which is what I thought anyway. But he done it really well. I felt for him because at the Norwich game he got an illness, didn't he, and couldn't play, and Sadie had to play. So he missed his opportunity. But I tell you what, no one would have thought he's anywhere near it. But he didn't. He was part of everything good. I thought everything good that we done, Jamal Lowe was involved in it. Really, really pleased for him, and I think he's shown that he can do a bit. Is he an impact sub? Let's put him in impact sub. I was going to say not done enough, but what more I think he has shown in the week that if we need a goal at the weekend, I think we might use him. Whereas I think before Tuesday, I don't think we would have. So I think he's made a case to say he's an impact sub, and I think also there's that versatility. He can play off wide areas if needed. So I like Jamal Lowe. Probably not quite. You wouldn't want him starting every week in the Premier League. No, but I think he's showing. I tell you what, he's one that I think there'll be interest in the Championship in January. I think teams will be going, if he's not playing, get him in on loan. He'll score some goals at this level.
Right, we're just about halfway through this tier list, and it's just time to say a big thank you to the pair at Parley for putting us up. We are recording this on quite a miserable day, but I tell you what, in here, mate, it's cosy. We've got board games, we've got our drinks, we can eat in here if we want to. There's a log burner in here to keep us nice and toasty, and these beautiful lights around the exterior as well. You can hire one of these woodland dining huts, by the way, for your social event. And the pair is on Christchurch Road in West Parley. Fantastic venue, great drinks, amazing food. Their Sunday roasts are to die for. Make sure you check out their website, the pair at parley.com. We're going to carry on with the tier list now then, and from Jamal Lowe, we've got Kiefer Moore. Give me more, give me more.
Give me Kiefer Moore. I love Kiefer. We said earlier, didn't we, that chance he missed at Leeds was a big chance. Feels like that's the only moment he's kind of like let us down with an opportunity. He's just always makes an impact. He's always brilliant.
Can I suggest that there are probably 3 categories that he could go into here?
Yeah, top 3. Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Because I'm really interested to know what you're going to pick for this.
I'm pretty sure I know what I'm going to do. I think, yes, he can be a really good impact sub. Yes, I'd be happy with him to start. Is he nailed on the start? No. But is he better than an impact sub? Yes, he's in contention for me to start going forward. I think we've shown that, yes, maybe we've been a little bit defensively fragile of late, but getting him and Dom has proven that we can hurt teams, and decent teams. Tottenham in particular, they really struggle to cope with him. So he's in contention. Another one, really delighted to see him at the World Cup. A little bit concerned for England in that. I genuinely, you joke about it, but I think if we went into that Wales game and we needed something, as an England fan, I think, Kiefer Moore's going to rough us up, isn't he? Who would you fancy, Harry Maguire or Kiefer Moore? Do you know what I mean?
Lewis Cook, once played for England, lifted the Under-20s World Cup. 90 minutes against Leeds, not against Everton, suggests that he's being saved.
He was on the bench though, wasn't he?
He was on the bench.
So he was obviously someone that he thought, if we need to, we'll call upon him. Probably because he can carry the ball well and bring us forward. I love Lewis. I think it's probably been a few games where he's been up and down, but I think on the most part he's been pretty consistent. And I think him and Jeff in the middle have really built up a good partnership now, which I think for a few years we've always felt like that's the partnership, but with injuries and stuff, it hadn't quite happened. Love Lewis, nailed on for me.
Yeah, nailed on for Lewis Cook. There we go, nailed on. All right, next then, Jefferson. I mean, is it even worth having this conversation, mate?
No, it's not. I think Jeff's he just does everything, doesn't he? He's brilliant, and I've actually made a point. I'd be interested to see if anyone agrees. If you said to one of the top, we should say the top 4, the big 6, whatever, you have to take one player from Bournemouth. And you think they've all got top strikers, Haaland, but so they ain't going to bother with Solanke, are they? I mean, he's actually been at 2 of them in Chelsea and Liverpool. I think they'd take Jefferson Lerma.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he would get in them teams, but I think, is he a massive drop-off from some of the other defensive midfielders? I don't think so. I think he's so good, and we're so lucky to have him. So, Jefferson Lerma is nailed on.
Nailed on. Love you, Jeff. Nailed on. Okay, next, Marcus Tavernier. I thought really nice to see him get on the score sheet.
Yeah, that was
against
brilliant.
Leeds United. I know the result didn't go particularly well, but that will do wonders for his confidence. And we want to be seeing those wide players scoring goals. And he took that chance well. And also, I never realised how pacey he actually is, but he really is. He made Christensen look incredibly slow. When that ball came over the top, I thought either the defender's going to get it or their keeper's going to come out. But no. Really did well, and also nice assist for Phil Bill as well.
Yeah, I think they were both really important because we've been saying, haven't we, constantly that I really like Tavernier, but is he going to be another one that does everything but then don't get the numbers, don't back it up with goals and assists, which you need. So that was really positive for him. I think he's been a really good signing, and I do like him, and we just hope that he can, kick on and get a few more goals. So for me, before that Leeds game, I might have said in contention, but I'm actually going to say nailed on. Yeah. I think whatever system you play, you make sure Tavernier's in there, to be honest with you. So Tavernier's definitely in. Nailed on for me, Marcus Tavernier.
Nailed on. Okay, Marcus Tavernier is going into nailed on.
Gotta be.
Right, next a player that got on the score sheet, of course, against... Always seems to be getting on the score sheet, actually. Philip Billing.
Yes. I think it was I think it was a big kind of statement that he wasn't even on the bench against Everton, because I think that was showing, I think other games you kind of would have had him on there, but you're thinking we need to wrap him up a little bit. Really pleased. So I did worry that going up to this level again, would he get the goals? Like, we always knew he was good for a goal in the Championship, but especially away from him, you always feel like Billing's going to score.
Yeah, I do.
I think he's been really good lately. He even kind of played off the right at times. And he's shown he could do it, and really pleased with Billing. There are certain games, as we've said a lot, that I think we get 60, 70 minutes and he's done. Yeah. And I do think we need to utilise that a bit more, the subs bench. I've put in their impact sub, Rothwell, for example, could be an option, but he's a guaranteed starter, nailed on.
Marcus Stacey then played 88 minutes. He was substituted towards the end of the Leeds game. Was saved for the week, probably rightly so.
He had to be, especially with the Mepham suspension. We couldn't afford...
No.
What I will say is, coming in for Lloyd Kelly, I think he's been pretty good. I think he's kind of slowly got better with every game. Yeah,
I think so.
I don't think he's been out of this world. I think he lacks a bit of pace. There was the penalty against Leeds, which was a little bit silly, that he gave away. But there's definitely a player in there, and you've got to remember he's never played in England. And I think he's been forced in because of injuries, and he's done quite well, and he's comfortable on the ball. Yeah. And I'm not fearful of having him there. No. It will be just going to be a different partner for him.
Definitely improved
at the weekend. But I like him. I'm not. Obviously, for this weekend, he's absolutely nailed on, probably the most on the team sheet. He's got Mepham. Going forward, if Lloyd Kelly were to come back, Mepham, Stevens plays well at the weekend, for example, we might sign another defender. I don't think he's nailed on, so I'm going to put in contention going forward.
Yeah, okay, in contention.
Because if Kelly was back and Mepham was available, would you be saying Celeste's nailed on? You wouldn't, would you?
No, and even if it was a back three, you'd probably put Smithy in there. Back, so
I think going forward, it wouldn't shock me if he dropped that. But at the moment, he's nailed on,
Ryan Christie then played in the week against Everton.
Done okay.
Did he play against Everton? Yeah, he did. I can't really remember.
Well, that says a lot, doesn't it?
He did all right.
I thought it was okay.
He does work hard, but I didn't.
I think he kind of... What happened, particularly in that first half, is we were moving Jaden to have that whip, and he was tucking in a lot. Wasn't he?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, he was. He was playing quite, central quite a bit.
Yeah, he was, and I think he gets a lot of criticism because he's not a goal scorer. He don't really get many assists. He's a bit frustrating, but he can play in a lot of areas. Yeah. He does always put a shift. It's very bad. It's very rare that he has a shocker.
No,
he was okay, but I still wanted him to stand out more in a game like that. He should be one of the more experienced players in there. I think he's okay. For me, I was going to say not done enough, actually, but what I'm going to do is, I think Steve Hensman actually made a good point after the Leeds game, as we're all talking about Pearson, but is that also a game where Christie, I was just saying then about Billing tiring, Christie, when you're winning the game, is not going to stop off the ball. He's going to work his socks off, so I think he's in that impact sub-role.
I think so, and also...
I don't think he should be in contention to start.
He can provide us with stuff going forward, but also he's, very dogged defensively as well. He'll get back and work, so maybe he's the ideal player to bring on and close off these games like Pearson. No, I agree with that. Okay, that's Ryan Christie. Junior Stanislas, nice to see him get 66 minutes. He came on at the end of the Leeds game as well. Obviously, we all know about his injury record. I think his performance was was all right. Obviously, you can see the quality on the ball that he's got, but he got on the score sheet. Like Everton, by the way, must absolutely hate.
Always scores against them.
He's like our Raheem Sterling because he
Yeah.
always scored against us. Like I can't remember how many goals he's got.
It's something like 5 and 4, I think I saw. Something mad.
It must be ridiculous. But on the Everton commentary on like YouTube, they're like, "Oh, he's there again, Junior Stanislas, bogeyman."
It's a weird one. I'm trying to think. I mean, we won't because obviously he did score. But if he didn't score, would we be going? He was not that good actually. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was tidy, but we've just kind of said Christie didn't do enough. Well,
yeah, you can't.
Apart from and don't get me wrong, he's at the right place at the right time. Good, fair play to him. I was really chuffed for him. He was okay. I think at this time, do I put him in uncertain future? No, because he's only got his contract runs out at the end of the season. He ain't getting a new one, so he'll be going anyway. I think at the moment, as much as he got a goal, I'm going to put him in not done enough going forward. I don't think he's ever really going to be in contention to start games in the Premier League.
Part of that could be down to his fitness, injury and stuff. He's still got that to get, because he's not 100% yet. So yeah, nice to see him back.
Yeah, but it wouldn't. It's not in a horrible way, but that wouldn't shock me if that's his last goal in front of the fact. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't shock me. But I was really pleased for him. We do love Junior. It's just a real shame of his injury record.
Speaking of injuries, I mean, JayZ looked like he was going to get injuries about 3 times in that last game. He wasn't utilised against Leeds United. But that's what you predicted. But he got 65 minutes. He eventually made way after going down a couple of times. He was off the pitch a couple of times, and we're thinking, bloody hell, don't risk him. But he came through it okay. And I'm just looking at the bottom of that list and of the players that didn't actually play many minutes. They actually made probably the biggest impacts. I thought JayZ did really well.
He was excellent. He was absolutely brilliant. And then I remember, like West Ham away where we were rubbish, he come on, he was brilliant. Yeah. I always think he's quite good. And yes, there might be a little bit of defensive vulnerability there because he's so attack-minded and he's still a young player. But he just gives you so much. He carries the ball so well. I love JayZ. I cannot put him nailed on because he won't be nailed on, and we've seen that. We've got evidence of that. For me, he almost would be. I think he's got to be in contention. But I think it is that safety thing. It's that experience of people like Fredericks and Smithy that maybe he struggles with. And I think his problem is how much of an impact he can make off the bench that you almost I think Gary Neville sometimes leaves him. But I love JayZ, and I think every Bournemouth fan wants him to start at the weekend, and I'm probably with you on that. But yeah, he can't do no more, mate. I wonder if the couple of bumps he got in the game might make it easier for Gary Neville to leave him on the bench. That was my concern. But yeah, delighted for him. Absolutely delighted for him. He was great again, and I just love his energy and his enthusiasm, and he's so attack-minded. So yeah, really pleased for him on Tuesday.
If you've got a cup game, there's no one you want to play other than Emilio Marcondes. Him and cups just seemingly go together. Did even score in the playoff final for Brentford.
Yes, of course, yeah.
And, that was lifting a trophy as well. So he's very adept with his silverware. But, wow, he scored 3 against Yeovil last season, the FA Cup. And, look, he's on...
Norwich this season?
Yeah, Norwich. And now, again, very similar goal, actually.
Yeah, he's just right place, right time, isn't he? He's very, I made a point to you, didn't I? If you watch the highlights back, I think everyone's rightly saying, Marcondes, right place, right time, usual stuff. He actually wins the ball back for that goal.
Right.
So we don't have the ball. I think they're just on the edge of the box, and he nicks it off one of their lads, and then we break away, and he just continues his run. You just see him at the back post just waiting. It's like he knows what's going to happen. I mean, he's so likeable, isn't he? Yeah. He is so likeable. And in the Cups, he's taking us to Wembley and bringing it home. But, yeah, in the league, no. It's not going to happen. I feel for him because a lot of people will be thinking, well, surely in Cardiff bench to get a goal. Yeah, but... So he plays in that Billing role, right?
He's not impact though, is he?
No, and Billing starting, and then if I said to you, right, Billing gets a knock, who's coming on? You would say Rothwell, Christie, all of these players over Marcondes. I still think he might not even get in the squad of the weekend. So going forward, I'm going to have to put him in uncertain future with Stacey because if he's desperate to get minutes, he'll go out on loan in January. Yeah. And I think he's out of contract at the end of the season anyway. So I think he'll probably be off. But I love Emmy, but it's just not. He's not gonna. Yeah, you've got to say uncertain future with Emmy because he's just not getting in the squad enough.
A mere 15 minutes for Siriki Dembele. A mere 15 minutes, but what a 15 minutes against Everton. Really good. I thought he was out the door. He was out
Parker
the door
tried.
under Scott Parker. But yeah, what an impact that he made. And I say the word impact. I don't know Whether you're going to put him in that category or above, we don't know. However, when he did come on, direct running, fast feet, it was the perfect game for him, really.
It was. I think them sort of games are brilliant for him. It opens up and he can get. I think he would. Don't get me wrong. If we're trying to, it's quite easy to go, oh, look how good he is, look how skillful he is, just play him. But there'll be certain games where they're tight and edgy, where you think, yes, some people would make a case that he could open a door, but I also think, is he the type of player when they're all quite deep and rugged? Then I think he'd struggle. I think when the game's open, he's just superb because he can just go and do something. And he's the only player we've got that I feel like plays with no fear, could do something out of nothing.
I thought it was really good when he had it on the left flank and then he played that little 1-2. What was it with Anthony?
Yeah, I think
and
it was,
then he got to the byline, and at that point he chipped it over lovely for Jamal Lowe, who obviously this created the Marcondes goal because it was a keeper saves and then Marcondes put it in. But you're really adept little chip at the byline, so he creates stuff, he links up well.
Last goal was
we
him.
know he can score.
Last goal was him winning it back, just harrying the defender. He done the same. I think it was at Blackburn last season.
That was really good. Yeah,
unbelievable. Obviously at Blackpool, we all know he come on and got the winner. I think at Sheffield United, he actually got a rare start and he was one of our better players. The thing is, I think a lot of people will think, oh, he's come on and done well, now you're hyping him up. No, he's not doing anything different than I've always seen of him. This is what he does. Do I ever think he should start? Probably not. But how he hasn't been an option, I can't get my head around it. And I mean, he wasn't even involved in the Norwich one because, like you said, Parker was looking like he was going to shove him out the door. And I almost respected Dembele kind of trying to force a move, going, well, if you don't want me, because I want to play football. But, mate, I really, really like him. I do really like him. Put it this way, in some of these games that have been tight, probably earlier in O'Neill's kind of reign, and when you think, oh, we're not really creating anything, nothing's happening, we need a spark. Yeah. If you were in that crowd on Saturday and they were in that space, you would think, get Dembele on, wouldn't you?
100%.
Impact sub. I don't think he's in contention to start. I don't. But he's got to be an impact sub for me. Got to be. I think what he has done is he was on the bench, but I think he's nailed down a spot for the next round of the Cup. He's got to be starting the Cup game, surely. But yeah, for me, he's an impact sub, and I just really like him. He's just nice to watch, and he's really clever. His feet are superb. A bit like watching you on a Sunday, mate.
Thanks, man. We'll make this tier list available. So if you want to click the link down below, you'll be able to actually do your own tier list, and then you can screenshot it and then put it as a reply to our tweet. It'll be interesting just to see how yours compare to ours. So there we go.
You happy with it?
I think I am, and I think that's all pretty much.
I think what's interesting is that we've
all pretty much.
I've obviously done this, and there's 8. Is there 8 there in the top in the nailed on?
Yeah.
Which shows really, done it going forward, that we keep saying, we've got loads of players that we think could really make a difference from the subs bench. The 2 categories below have proven that, but we kind of know pretty much that bulk team at the moment. Yeah. Obviously, Stacey would be in there, and without Kelly, so there's one of the centre halves that would be up there as well. There's just a few little areas where there's a little bit of, it's kind of in them areas you expect, kind of wide areas and stuff.
The only thing I'd say is that not done enough. I mean, I'd say maybe not seen enough rather than not done enough, because I thought he did do enough in that last game.
I think it depends how you word it. So if I said this to you, Sam, if I said Mepham is available at the weekend, they've suddenly said that he's not suspended. Has he done enough to start over Mepham and Stacey?
All right,
but no, he was. He didn't put foot wrong. He was fine, and I'm a little bit more confident going into this game, knowing that he'll probably start. And shame for James Hill. We didn't, obviously, you alluded to at the start that he hasn't got enough minutes to really bother doing him. But what I will say about James Hill, just give him a little shout, is in that Norwich game where he played with Stacey, I thought he done very well.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Okay, there we go. That is our review of the last couple of games. I know it was a different, unconventional style via a tier list, but you know what? It's Thursday. It's a dull day. You need something to get your juices flowing. Certainly on Back of the Net, your juices will be flowing over the next week or so, where it is content galore, Tom. There's a preview show coming up tomorrow.
Yep.
On Saturday, there'll be the fan cams after the game, of course.
Hopefully no fireworks.
Hopefully no fireworks. On Sunday, we'll have the matchday vlog as well. Monday, we'll of course have a second look, of course, at the Everton game, but also just talking about the season so far, of course. Tuesday, Premier League show. Yep. We need to talk about who is where in the table. Hopefully, we're above that dotted line. Wednesday, I know Leeds fans are wanting this, the Leeds United away day review. And then there'll be some extra special footage, we hope, towards the end of next week as well, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Celebratory footage.
Looking forward to it, mate, because we're going to have that little break, which I'm sure we'll do bits and bobs, but I'm sure we'll let the guys know when the little break's on for us. But I think, like you said, that second look coming up, the Premier League show, we can kind of review the season a little bit as well for the break. So, yeah, it's going to be weird when all this is gone for a little bit, but never know, England might bring it home.
Bring it home. Right, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, do all those good things. See you in the next one.
Bye.
Up the cherries.
Up cherries.